What was Jimmy's role in the organization? Supplier. So he provided drugs? Yeah. And who did he provide it? Not names, but kinds of people. People who was selling. What, if anything, locations did the drug organization use to store its supplies? Sorry, I missed that question. I couldn't understand you, Mr. Tugger. I missed that question. Could he repeat the question? Could you reread the question back? Do you want to just ask, what, if any, locations did the drug organization use to store its supplies? Stash houses or dummy offices? What were some of the stash houses? Have one on 65th Street in Manhattan, another one in Harlem on 7th Avenue and 136, I think it was. Did you ever go into those stash houses? Yes. The one on 165th Street, where was it located? 65th Street between 1st and York. That's in Manhattan? Yeah. What kind of establishment? It's an apartment building. What kind of apartment building was it? Just a regular walk-up building. And the one in Harlem, what kind of establishment? It's an apartment building. Was that a walk-up also? No. It had an elevator? Yeah. What was the location of the stash house in Harlem? It was on 7th Avenue, I think 136 and 137. Did you, Roseman, ever tell you expressly that he was running a drug organization? No. How did you learn that Jimmy was running a drug organization? Just kind of picking up on things, and a couple times I've seen things. Can you give us your examples? There was a time Jimmy had gave me a bag to give to Tef, and when I gave it to Tef, he opened it up to take out what was in it and put it in his stash box in his car. Tef, remind us what's his name? Mohammed Stewart. Okay, approximately what year was the incident you just described? I believe it was 2008. Where were you when Jimmy gave you a bag? At his mother's apartment on 57th Street in Manhattan. Who was in the apartment with you? Me, Jimmy, Khalil. That's pretty much it. What did Jimmy give you in the apartment? A backpack. What did he tell you to do? Take it down to Tef. Did you do that? Yeah. Where was Tef? In his car. When you saw Tef, what did you do? Gave him the bag. Were you outside the car or? No, I got in the car. What happened when you gave Tef the bag? He opened it, took out what looked like 2 bricks of cocaine, and put it in the stash box. What car was Tef in? In a Ford Explorer. Where was Tef parked? Right on the street. How far from Jimmy's mother's house? Maybe like 100 feet, maybe not even that far. Okay, so that's one incident. Were there other incidents you can recall that told you, all right, Jimmy's running a drug organization? Another time I went to go pick up a package at the stash house on 65th Street and Derek English was there. He wasn't finished packing up the box. He still had a bunch of money on the floor, so. Who asked you to go in the stash box that day? Jimmy did. What were you supposed to do? Why were you going to the stash box? To pick up a couple boxes to ship them out. When you got there, you said, what did you see? Money on the floor. A lot of money. Cash? Yeah. How much cash? I don't know. It looked like a lot, though. You see anything else? Like a food saver bag, rubber bands, boxes, mustard. That's pretty much it. Did Derek English ever finish packing the box? Yeah, I had left and came back. It was finished. What did you do with the box? I shipped it off. Did you supply cocaine to this drug organization? No. Did you sell cocaine for the organization? No. Did you participate in the management of the organization? No. Did Jimmy discuss with you the details of how the organization was run? No. What kind of tasks did you perform for the organization? Whatever was asked of me. Can you just give us some examples of some of the things that were asked of you? Like I said, shipping or boxes, or sometimes receiving boxes that were shipped, and sometimes taking money to buy money orders. Okay, let's walk through some of these and let's talk about shipping boxes. When you were shipping boxes, what was in the box? Money. What kind of money? Cash. Who would ask you to do that? Sometimes Jimmy, sometimes Khalil. Where would you get the money to send? They would be in the boxes. Where would you pick up the boxes? From the stash houses. In New York City? Right. Where would you typically send the boxes? Mostly to California. You talked about receiving boxes? Right. Can you give us an example of how that worked? Sometimes if somebody else could, I would be asked to, catch a package that's coming this way. And I would either just get it straight off the truck, or I would go to the office or something like that, and I would get it from there. What does that mean, to catch a package? Receive it. What was in the packages that you were receiving? I'm not sure, but most of the time drugs. What kind of drugs? Cocaine. And you said you were asked to do that. Who would typically ask you to pick up packages that were coming in? Jimmy. Now, if Jimmy asked you to go pick up a package of cocaine, how would he phrase that request? He would just tell me he needed me to pick up something, or he needed me to be somewhere to receive something. Would he say, hey, I've got a bunch of cocaine coming in a box, go get it? No. You mentioned money orders. Can you explain, give us an example of how that works? What were you doing with money orders? Jimmy would give me some money to go to the post office and buy money orders, but I would go to different locations, not just one location address. What kind of money? Step back. Let's talk about the first time you did that. Tell us about the first time that you bought money orders for Jimmy. I don't really remember the first time, but did Jimmy give you instructions the first time? I mean, just not to go to one post office, to spread it around, to go to different ones so that I wouldn't have to fill out the tax form. What's the tax form? I guess once you go over 10,000 or more, you have to fill out a form. And the money you're being given to buy money orders, what kind of money are you given? Cash. You are supposed to go buy money orders with them? Right. You're saying if you spread the money out across post offices, you can avoid going over 10,000 at one particular post office? Right. That way you avoid having to fill out this form for any amount over 10,000? Right. What was the purpose of taking cash and buying money orders? Objection, Your Honor. Sustained as to form. Did you have an understanding of what kind of money that you were taking to go buy money orders? Objection, Your Honor. Sustained as to form. How much money would you typically take in a given week on an average in cash to go buy money orders? In a week, probably 20 to 30,000, maybe more, maybe less. Was some portion of that cash money from Jimmy's? Was some portion? I don't know what the question is. Perhaps you do. The question was some sort of that cash from Jimmy's drug business? Let's go on. Finish the question at least. Was some portion of that cash drug money from Jimmy's business? Objection, Your Honor. Overruled. The witness is testifying. You can answer. Yeah. Apart from your regular salary as Jimmy's driver, were you paid for performing tasks for Jimmy's drug organization? No. In addition to Jimmy and yourself, Were there other people in the drug organization? Yeah. Can you name some of those people? Winston, Khalil, Tori, Derek English, Tef. Okay, I'm going to show you on your screen what's been pre-marked for identification as Government Exhibit 1007. Do you recognize the people depicted in this photograph? Yes. Who do you see on the right? Khalil. Who do you see on the left? Teddy. The government offers Government Exhibit 1007. Who did you see on the left? Teddy. I can't hear you. Teddy. Thank you. Proceed. May we publish? Yes. Now that the jury can see the photo, can you tell them who is on the right in the photo? Khalil. Do you know his full name? Khalil Abdullah. And who is standing next to him? Teddy. Teddy's full name? Waverly Coleman. What was Khalil's role in the drug organization? He had kind of a management role. Can we publish Government Exhibit 11? Who is that? Derek English. Did he have any nicknames? D. What was his role in Jimmy's drug organization? He sold drugs. Did he have any vehicles? Yeah. What kind of vehicles? He had a red Expedition, black Honda Accord. Let's talk about the red Expedition for a moment. Did you ever drive that car? Yeah. Did it have any special features? Yeah, it had a hidden compartment under the back seat. Let's publish Government Exhibit 13. Who is that? Winston. What was his role in Jimmy's drug organization? He sold drugs. Let's publish Government Exhibit 2. What was his role in Jimmy's drug organization? Sold drugs. Okay, we can take that down. You also mentioned Tef. What was his role in Jimmy's drug organization? He sold drugs. Were there other people who worked for the organization as well? Yeah. Have you told the jury about every crime you committed for this drug organization, or just answered my questions? Just answered your questions. Are you willing to answer additional questions about your activities for the drug organization if the defendant's lawyer or if the judge have any more questions? Yes. Okay, let me direct your attention to a period from 2007 to 2011 when you worked as Jimmy's driver. Sounds like a good place to stop. That's fine. I hope you all had a good weekend. Let the record reflect that the defendant is present. Mr. Williams, you are still under oath. Mr. Enzer, you may continue. Jason Williams, called as a witness by the government and having previously been duly sworn, testified as follows. Mr. Williams, direct your attention to the period from 2007 to 2011 when you worked for James Rosemond, the defendant, as his driver and also for his drug organization. I want you to focus on that period for a minute. During that period, how often did you communicate with Rosemond? Every day. And how would you communicate with him during that period? In person, on phones, text, every day. What kind of phones or texts did you use? Sometimes regular, sometimes we had like encrypted emails. What is an encrypted email? An email that can't be like cracked, I guess. Cracked by who? Law enforcement. What kind of device did you use to communicate with the defendant via encrypted email? A BlackBerry. How did you get an encrypted BlackBerry? I was given one by Jimmy. What year was that roughly? Around somewhere between 2007 and 8. When Rosemond gave you the encrypted BlackBerry, what, if anything, did he tell you? Just that this is how we would be communicating? Were you the only member of Rosemond's drug organization with an encrypted BlackBerry? No. To your knowledge, who else had one? Khalil, Jimmy, Winston, and I think Tori. And how did you know those people had an encrypted BlackBerry? I spoke to them on it one time or another. I'm sorry? I spoke to them on it one time or other. Aside from Roseman's encrypted BlackBerry, do you know whether he had any other phone devices? Yeah, just a regular phone. Cell phone? Yes. One or several? Several. How many phones did Roseman typically have? About maybe 2, 3, about 3. Mr. Williams, you testified that you participated with Roseman in acts of violence against G Unit. Is that right? Yes. What is G Unit? A record label. Are there any artists affiliated with G Unit? Yeah. Who? 50 Cent, Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks. Could we publish Government Exhibit 20? Do you recognize that person? Yes. Who is that? 50 Cent. Do you know his real name? Curtis Jackson. Could we publish Government Exhibit 1? Do you know who that is? Tony Yayo. Do you know his real name? Marvin Bernard. Who managed G Unit? Chris Lighty. Did Lighty have a company? Yeah, Violator. Government Exhibit 18. Who is that? Chris Lighty. You can take that down. Did Violator have an office? Yeah. Where? 25th, same block as us. Aside from the rap artist that you mentioned and Chris Lighty, do you know of anyone else affiliated with G Unit? Yeah, a guy Maserati Fox, Baja, and that's about it. Was there anyone else? Not that I can think of. How about Lowell Fletcher? Oh yeah, Lowell Fletcher. Did Lowell have a nickname? Lodi Mack. Directing your attention to the period when you worked as a driver for Rosemond, did there come a time when members of G Unit committed an act of violence against Rosemond or his family? Yeah. Who was the victim of that incident? His son. Whose son? Jimmy's son. Approximately what point and year did that happen? March 2007. How did you learn about that incident? I was in the office when it happened. Generally speaking, what happened? He was walking on his way to the office and he got stopped by Yayo and Fletcher, and one of them smacked him. When you say he, who is he? Jimmy's son. Do you know Jimmy's son? Yeah. What's his name? Jabulani. Aside from Jabulani, did Jimmy's son go by any other names? James Rosemond Jr. In March of 2007, how old was Jabulani Rosemond? About 14. Can we publish Government Exhibit 1008? Who is that? That's Jabulani. You can take that down. Directing your attention to the day of the slapping incident, where were you when that occurred? In the office. Who else was in the office that day? Teddy was there, Tef, Jimmy, Spot. That's all I can really remember. Could we publish Government Exhibit 10? Who is that? Tef. He is one of the people who was there in the office? Yeah. Could we publish Government Exhibit 31? Who is that? Teddy. He was one of the people in the office that day? Yeah. Could we take that down? You mentioned also Jimmy and a guy called Spot. Who is Spot? He's a rapper. So on the day of the slap, what, if anything, happened while you were in the office? Jabulani had came up afterward and went to the office to tell his father what happened, and at some point a little later on, they went to go to try and see if they could find who. Objection, Your Honor. Sustained. Ask it in a way. Jury will disregard the answer. Ask it in a way that will elicit personal knowledge. Where were you sitting in the office when Jabulani arrived? In the reception area. When you were sitting in the reception area, did there come a point when Jabulani came to the office? Yeah. When he came to the office, what did Jabulani do? They went to the back office to speak to his father. After that, what happened? What happened next? Then Jimmy, Teddy, Tef, and them, they went to go see if they could find... Objection. How do you know that? That's how I remember it. But how do you know it? Did you go with them? Did you see it? No, I didn't go with them. Was something said? Yeah, I mean, they told me what happened. Let me walk you through it. Let's walk through what you saw, and then I'm going to ask you what people said, okay? Without talking about who said what, who did you see leave the office after Jabulani spoke with Rosamond? Jimmy, Teddy, and Tef. Okay, they left as a group? Yeah. And when they left, did you stay in the office? Yeah. Now, before that group left, Rosamond, Tef, and Teddy, did they say anything to you as they were leaving the office? I just remember Teddy telling me, like, what exactly happened. Did Teddy say anything about what he, Rosamond, and Tef were going to do? Objection. I'll take it, subject to connection. Did Teddy say anything about what he, Jimmy, and Tef were going to do? No. Did he tell you what had just happened to Jabulani? Yeah. Okay, so then they leave, right? Right. After they left, did there come a time when you left the office? Yeah, a little later, and after that, not too long after that. What happened when you left the office? I had seen Tef, and he told me he had cut Mike Lighty on the face. Why did you leave the office at that point? What were you doing? Going to get something to eat, I think, something like that. And when you left the office to go get something to eat, where did you see Tef? Down at his car. Was he alone in the car? No. Who was with him? Teddy and Jimmy. What kind of car was it? Ford Explorer. And you said at that point you spoke to Tef? Yeah. What did Tef tell you? That he had sliced one of Chris Lighty's family members, sliced Lighty on the face. Did there come a time when you learned that Lowell Fletcher had been arrested for the assault of Jimmy's son? Yeah. How did you learn that? It was in the news and stuff like that. Did Rosamond ever speak with you about how he felt about the assault of his son? Yeah, he did. Where were you when he spoke to you about it? I don't really remember. What did he say to you? He said just that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I know he was like distraught about it.